All right, everybody, welcome back to Sunday Chat here for the fourth week edition of our Sunday videos. Got treated to our first international game, the London Jaguars versus Falcons, going on as we speak. So we'll get this out as soon as we can to get all the information out. Start with some news as always. So Christian, let's get it started.
Let's go for more recent news right now. Chandler Jones of the Las Vegas Raiders has been released just yesterday. And Chandler Jones, there's been some problems since he stopped. Since he stopped playing this season for the team for a bit. Obviously, with his mental issues and whatever was going on, he was on live, recently this week, just saying, whatever, which was kind of concerning. And then that led to him obviously being arrested later on, and obviously his release from the Raiders. So obviously, it's very sad to see him. We hope Chandler Jones gets the help he gets.
Of course, always wish the best for him, for his mental health. But keeping it on the Raiders, it gets worse for them. As we talked about last week after the Steelers game, Jimmy Garoppolo will, in fact, miss today's game with the concussion against the Chargers. They're going to end up starting Aiden O'Connell, who had a really good preseason. It's up to seeing, how that can translate into a game against it's not really that great of a defense, so we'll see. Probably not expected to be a pretty tight game overall, but see what he can do in his NFL debut, and it's just tough to see probably a mediocre game between the Chargers and the Raiders.
And moving on to another injury-related news, Kyler Murray, we saw he had his Achilles tear last season in December, and despite him supposedly going to miss a couple of games, he is still weeks away from recovering from his injury, and he will remain on the PUP list for the Cardinals. Obviously, the Cardinals, they're projected to be the worst team this season, obviously with the quarterback situation, with the new head coach, and just problems on both sides of the ball. And obviously, Kyler Murray not being able to be there is a huge blow for the Cardinals. And honestly, Kyler Murray, that injury could have been the end of him, but he's still there. But it'll just take a couple more weeks into the Cardinals and see what to do with Kyler Murray in the future.
Yeah, we'll keep it another injury-related news. Probably the story of the season as of right now. Damar Hamlin has been announced that he will play this week against the Dolphins. He's expected to start more than anything. It's just a great story. Everyone's been waiting on this. It's gonna be really special. Obviously, there's gonna be it's gonna be a deal. He. From the whole situation Monday night last season against the Bengals, a life-threatening injury in a coma for a while. It's just inspiring, and it's a blessing that he even gets to get back on the field. Obviously, we talked about this looking back on similar to the Alex Smith situation, but of course the far and runaway comeback player of the year the second he steps on the field. And it's just it's really, really good to see him just thriving after such a scary moment in his life.
Yeah, and obviously another injury. Moving on, David Njoku of the Browns. He will miss these next couple of games due to severe burns on his hands and face. This recent news, obviously, this is a big blow for the Browns, since Njoku is the number one threat for tight end. And as we see, the Browns, finally looking to be good. But, it's the Browns. Stuff could happen between them. You know how it's been for the past couple of years. But Njoku being gone is going to be a huge blow for them.
Yeah, we'll get one last news piece in for fantasy. We got the Carolina Panthers, which, we see the big situation about them. I know you kind of talked about it in a prior video. Their receivers, they're struggling to get open for Bryce Young. Hasn't really been the best production from them. It's no surprise they're going to be in the market to look to trade for a receiver, trying to see. They're also, debating they could throw their safety Xavier Woods as trade bait. But I know how both you and me look at this guy, Chase Claypool. He is rumored to be one of the interests for the Panthers. I really wouldn't like to see it personally. I'm pretty sure you can agree with that. But look, you never know. He's a talented receiver. Don't get me wrong. He's in the NFL, but it all depends on his work ethic and his attitude. And if if Carolina can resurge his career, then he could turn out to be a great weapon for Bryce Young. But it's just all wait and see if he can turn his career around there. But that's gonna wrap up our news. So moving into fantasy, I got my team on screen right now, and key thing for me to say, my receivers. I'm really hesitant. I'm still making my last decision, but I decided to go with Puka and Pittman as those. I mean, of course, I got Debo up top. That's a given. He's been giving good production, but I was debating if to be Pittman or Cooper, and it's tough against my Rams. Sure, I don't want him to get that good production, but with our bend don't break type play, and obviously with Anthony Richardson back, that chemistry really flowing, I do expect Pittman to have a good game. Hopefully he can. I mean, he gets his good numbers without affecting the score much, but I'm expecting just hopefully he does better than Amari, at least for my sake. And as for my defense, I know I've been rotating it here and there, but keeping the Seahawks in here. Kind of clear to see why they're playing Monday night against the Giants. Not expecting them to give them much trouble here. Sure, the Panthers did give them a scare, put up 27 on them, but I expect them to wake back up against a pretty poor Giants team.
And then moving on to my fantasy team, which is up on screen right here. It's about the same as it's been for the past recent weeks. Even though this lineup, barely won me my fantasy matchup, it was 73 to 50 something. Still got it done, but a lot of players that I was hyping up, obviously aren't doing as well, like Joe Mixon and Calvin Ridley. But now the key player in this team this week is going to be CeeDee Lamb. I mean, CeeDee Lamb got barely any targets last week against the Cardinals, and it affected that team and my team, the fantasy team. But CeeDee Lamb, he's going to have to be a big factor, let alone if Calvin Ridley cannot produce, let alone with Joe Mixon and my running back room. My next is gonna I'm gonna say it again. It's gonna be my Cowboys defense. Going against this Patriots team, it's been kind of in the mix between them, but it really isn't that bad as we look at it. But I'm gonna need the defense to kind of step up a bit to get this good fantasy matchup, because they really sold me on that one. And then looking at the rest of the team, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing about it. No major adjustments made.
Yeah. So moving into cash or trash, we got receivers last week. Christian, you're kind of on a pretty downward trajectory. I took a 2-0 last week as well. I'm up now 4-2 on the year. Obviously two high-powered guys. I mean, both of our cash players went great with Jefferson and Tyreek, but obviously we know the numbers the Dolphins put up. No surprise, Tyreek got me the win there. And as for trash, exactly what you predicted. Right when you expected Gallup to have a shit game, he won't say go off, but he got you 15.2. Terry McLaurin stayed true to me and stayed below you at 10.1. So of course we'll move it into tight ends this week. Obviously we'll leave an absence to Travis Kelce. He is way far and above everyone else, so that kind of be a cheat code for us to pick him. So we'll work with the rest of the pack. And as for me, I'm gonna go with probably, in everyone's eyes, the second best tight end in the league, George Kittle. He's going against the Cardinals, which sure, we saw them play a pretty good Cowboys team pretty well last week. So it depends. Maybe is that defense gonna be one of those on and off, and will this be an on day for them? I really don't expect to see back-to-back good days, so I expect Kittle to really work his magic, especially being one of Purdy's top targets. And staying in that game for trash, I'm gonna go with Zach Ertz. Nothing against the guy, he's just past his prime. Not really given much production this season in that tight end role. I don't really have much to say here. I just expect all the production that Dobbs gets is probably gonna go to Marquise Brown and probably the receivers and even the run game. So I don't expect Ertz to get much, but he feels like a safe pick for me at trash.
Yeah, so obviously I've been liking with cash or trash lately, so let's switch that up a bit. So obviously the tight ends for my cash pick, I'm going to go TJ Hawkinson. TJ Hawkinson, got paid to be the highest paid tight end ever, and there's been some mix-ups about that, but TJ Hawkinson, he still puts up a good amount of points, especially since he's going against Carolina, and that defense of Carolina is not so well. A couple close games here and there, but they do let up big, especially towards the end. So I got TJ Hawkinson, probably doing a decent game for me. And then for my trash, I'm gonna go with Kate Cotton of the Buccaneers. I mean, he is their number one, their number one tight end for the Bucks, but I don't see him getting any production. Let alone if last week's game was, showing how true, Baker's true colors against the Eagles. And, especially with this tight end, not really, Baker alone, that game not being able to do anything. I got a little prediction of Kate Cotton this week.
Can easily see why you go with that. But of course, that is going to wrap us up. Quick news just popped up right now as Deshaun Watson will miss the Browns game today. Dorian Thompson-Robinson will be starting in his place, making his debut. Seeing how much great things he did at UCLA, so see what we can expect for him. But that will wrap up our Sunday video. Get this out as soon as possible to catch the rest of the Sunday slate of games. Obviously, the London game already on, but barring any news coming up throughout the week before we get our weekly video, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Thank you guys for watching, and see you soon.